Hey, 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 hey! Welcome to Mel and Friends, Mel and Mel's Tribe. Who we got in the tribe tonight?
The one and only T. What's up,
yes,
good people? Happy
yes,
Sunday, happy
Big
Sunday.
T. Hey, girl. Hey, baby sister.
Hey.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait, let's try this one more time. Hey, baby sister.
Hey.
Oh, man. What's going on in your life tonight?
Girl, you know today.
I just go back to Atlanta.
You know what? You right. But welcome, everyone. Welcome to Mel and Friends, Mel's Tribe. However you want to say it or call it. We're still trying to come up with a great name for our my podcast. But I like Mel and Friends, Mel's Tribe. So if you're on, definitely let us know. It looks like we have 0 followers right now or 0 people watching. I guess we didn't create the buzz and the hype that we should have created. But hopefully y'all will come on in the room. Come on. I'm just joking. But tonight, ladies, the topic is triggers, anxiety, and self-care. So, when I think about my triggers, honey, my triggers could be somebody at work triggering me. It could be my situation triggering suppressed issues that I may have had in the past. It could be somebody in the drive-thru window triggering my energy or my spirit to make me want to tell them about themselves. Because one of my big issues at the drive-thru, real quick, y'all, is like the people in the drive-thru acting like I asked them to work there, right? So when I come up to take my order, they have an attitude that their attitude triggers me because I didn't tell them to apply for that job. And so when I think about my triggers and things that give me anxiety, those are some things that give me anxiety and trigger me. So what about you, Casey? When we talk about your triggers and how your anxiety happens, what are some things that trigger you and result in anxiety?
I hear people yell. It's just when a lot of people they trigger me because it's like you have a thing with sounds and hearing people loud, it triggers the anger in everybody. I just need when people smack their gum. God. That is the most annoying sound I've ever heard in my life. I get violent. I have rage built up inside of me when I hear their gum. And I start getting an attitude. Did you stop? When people get mad because you feel like you're coming at them just like that. Literally hurts my ears. And I don't know how to explain that without sounding special. So I just be like, please stop. People don't be like, what's the problem? They start trying to get at me. Calm down because it's y'all. And that's why I don't have no friends that pop gum. They trigger the hell out of me. And I get anxious. I get that fight or flight going on. I just don't need all that.
Okay, so people that are loud, people that pop their gum, what else triggers you and causes anxiety?
Girl, I think that's about it. I mean, I get anxious throughout the day. I think that's like a occurrence. I mean, if you having the day that you truly deserve every single day. Some days I don't have it. But I think for the most part, I think everybody get a little anxious throughout the day. You finna go eat or something, and the line take too long on your lunch. You got a certain amount of time. I get a little anxious. I gotta get that. So I feel a little anxious then. But that's only because I'm really the time crunch. It's not like I'm triggered. It's just a regular occurrence. I think if you look too anxious all the time, that's when you got some issues.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about how we cope with anxiety and we cope with our triggers a little later on in the show. So, Big T, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you
for coming along.
But I'm with Casey on that hollering. So let me just tell you, some triggers I don't know I have until it happens. Mm-hmm. So I was in Foot Locker last week, and it was 2 little kids. They weren't that small. They were probably between 5 and 7-ish. Mm-hmm. When I tell you they were running around, running and screaming to the top of their damn lungs, and the parent was running around with them. I mean, they were screaming like it. I got a ball of fire, like a knot in my stomach, and it was like a hot flash from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. I wanted to snatch both of the kids and the damn daddy up, and like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That was something in the moment. But I'm with the loud noises. Any type of like, if I hear gunshots or fireworks, that's a reoccurring trigger for me.
And can we talk about that? The gunshots. Why do you have those?
Just some just from my deployment, going overseas, and hearing that stuff. It kind of takes me back to a place, and then on Broad River, it's like damn Ukraine over there. Now, you think you would get used to it, but. No. Like now, 4th of July comes around, New Year's Eve. I know they don't bother me because I know they expect it. But when you hear a whole damn gunfight outside 2 blocks over, it's a whole different feeling. But
that's a understood trigger that gives anxiety. That triggers anxiety. Crowds.
I don't know. Lately, it's just been like a ball of fire. Like I get so angry in the inside. So I feel you on that case. It's like, and you can't. I try my best to control it. Sometimes you can hold it in. Sometimes you're like, oh my fucking God. So I just kind of walk out the store. I had to walk out the store for a little while until they left. It was that bad. I'm not even exaggerating on the way those kids were screaming. Right there. I know what I need. I was looking at the shoes, and and kids had that really, really, really high pitched sound. So it's almost like a whistle was blowing right inside of my ear. It was just, and I think I was just really disturbed how the parent was acting with the children.
Right, because they weren't doing anything about it.
Right. And I know it's, tax season, everybody got a little tax money, so they're happy, but take their ass to the goddamn playground and shit. Like, fuck. You don't do that shit. Even the people at Foot Locker were like, what the fuck was that?
My goodness. So when we talk about, Casey, your anxiety is for people that just hopped on or didn't hear you. Your anxiety is when people pop their gun, loud noises, and like when you're in line trying to get lunch. Mm. Yours is gunshots, bad kids.
Man, listen.
Bad kids.
Yeah.
And my anxiety is when I'm triggered, I get anxiety for like things that happen in my relationship or my friendships that trigger like repressed issues or repressed memories from my past. Man, these clients at work, my goodness, sometimes they trigger my anxiety because I know I need to keep my job and I know I have to remain professional at all times. But sometimes these clients take the customer's always right to an extreme, to an extreme. And so that kind of fuels my anxiety. So when I get anxiety, things like I start breathing heavy. Like I can feel, like you said, it feels like you're burning. Like when I get anxiety, it's like right here in my chest. It's like I can feel it. I literally can feel my anxiety. Kirsten, I can feel my anxiety, okay? I can feel it. Like burning inside of me. Like my heart rate starts to go up. Like sometimes like in extreme times, like if I don't figure out how to self-soothe or to think of a happy place, like I can start hyperventilating. And anxiety happens in everyone. And I think some people, especially when we get older, we're just starting to recognize anxiety. I think that when we were younger, it's like we didn't get the chance to openly explore like our emotions or things that are happening to us. Casey, when did you realize that you first had anxiety issues or you first were being triggered and your anxiety was coming out and you knew it was anxiety?
I think it was like 18. But mom knew for a minute because I definitely was trying to calm me down. Even like now, if I got something going on, I call mom and she would be like 18, 19. Yeah, I was like, okay. I don't like how this feels. Yeah. I still remember I had a call and I was freaking out. And Joe was trying to get me to calm down. I was like, no. I remember that. So mommy's been coping for a minute.
So you cope. So calling out mama helps you cope, huh?
Call mama. Yeah. I need to talk to her.
You're such a big old baby. I can't stand
it. I call her and tell her what's going on, and I calm down as I'm telling her.
So how do you?
Somebody else now.
Nobody else, just mom.
Damn. Yeah, if I call, I call other people like when I need to make bad decisions. But when I call mom, yeah.
Casey, I gotta tell you, when I want to make a bad decision, if I know I don't want somebody to talk me out of something, I call you.
She ain't gonna talk you out.
No, she'll be like, man, that's how you feel. Do that shit.
I was like, but you also gotta think about this. I'll say do it, but I'm like, what happened if you did?
Casey, 90% of the time you be like, you'll tell me how to magnify it and blow it up though. You be like, girl, if you gonna do it like this.
Well,
you gonna do it, go all out.
You gonna go to jail. You might as well do some other shit before you go to jail.
Listen, my sister, if you want to cope or self-soothe, my sister is not the friend to call because my sister, she'll tell you now, and she'll be there to pick you up in jail, but to self-soothe, to ease some anxiety, my sister will tell you how to put some fire in a situation. It'd be crazy sometimes. So you self-soothe through mom. How do you self-soothe?
My first go-to is like remove myself from the situation if I can.
Okay.
If I can. If I can't, I do a lot of talking to myself.
Like what? What do you say to yourself?
Like, bitch, calm the fuck down. Get your shit together. Like, because for me, once that rage comes in, like you said, it's like a knot and a ball of fire, and it like goes from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. It takes a lot of power to control that rage.
Right.
And then once I control it, I do feel pretty fucking powerful. I ain't gonna lie to you.
So, but like, some people like ease their anxiety by like meditating.
I haven't, but I also like probably like 4 years ago now, I started taking medicine for it.
Okay.
So that I swear that has been like my lifesaver right there.
So why do you guys feel like some people have anxiety, or they know they have these disorders, but then they never go to the doctor, they never go to see anyone to help them like get on medication for it?
It's I ain't gonna say disability, but it's a feeling of shame.
Yeah.
I think because society looks on it like when you say, because it's part of mental health, and when you say somebody has mental health problems, it's the stigma behind it is like they ain't rap right, they're crazy, or they're slow, or this or that, not knowing like it's okay to, everybody has some type of damn mental health problem. I don't care who you are.
Right.
But what makes it bad is when you continue to ignore it, knowing you have an issue, when there's things you can do or even a medicine you can take to alleviate so much anxiety. I'm not gonna say it still don't happen, but I control it a lot easier with the medicine.
Okay. So some signs of anxiety, guys, just in case you're not aware that you may have anxiety, is difficulty sleeping, lack of concentration, being easily irritated, feeling tired, intense or immense long-term or prolonged worrying. And the telltale sign for me and my anxiety is I can literally feel my heartbeat. My heart rate start to increase. So some things that I have been doing recently when I've been triggered is, listen, like I've been trying this whole meditation thing. Like I've been trying to meditate. I've been trying to balance myself and center myself as a self-care method. Like every morning I listen to this amazing artist. I send it to my friends, and it's literally like a 12-minute like song of meditation. I'm not sure if I can say her name on the podcast. I don't know if she's gonna charge us or anything, so I'm not gonna say her name, but listen, she's an amazing artist that is like all about self-care and self-worth. And that's how I begin my day, because every day things trigger me. Oh, yeah. When I say every day, I mean like customer service, y'all, triggers you. You know, sometimes like I love my daughter to death, but when I wake up in the morning, I get done with my meditation and I'm getting ready to get my day started, and she has her alarm clock set. She knows what time she's supposed to get up, and I go in her room and she's still in the bed, and it's 15 minutes till it's time to go to school and get out this house, and that girl is still in the bed. Oh my goodness, that thing triggers me, honey. She triggers me. So I'm like, gives me anxiety. I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to be to work on time. I got to be able to start my day to get my team together. And it's like, you got to be able to compartmentalize and figure out how to self-soothe. So then I try to go back into my meditation. I go back in my room. I be like, okay, sweet baby Jesus. I don't want to yell at my daughter. I don't want to give her anxiety. I don't want her to have a bad day. So I got to figure out how to parent my own child so I don't have the same anxiety or the issues that that she doesn't have. I don't give her the same anxiety
right.
and the same issues. So have you ever, I know, Casey, you're a parent now, new parent to my beautiful baby niece, Corey. I wish I had a picture to put her up because she is an exceptional, interesting little human being. Have you ever felt the need to like deal with your own anxiety, to cope with your own anxiety so you don't give it to her, so you don't, you know, translate some of that energy onto her? Because I hate to like just mess my own child's day up because she started off bad and I didn't self-soothe her, I didn't parent her properly. So how do you feel about that? Do you feel like our parents are a form of, can trigger us?
Well, yeah. When I had her, I was just like, I knew a lot of stuff I had to work on. So I try not to be yelling, and I don't do the whole feeding thing. Or the whole like how they used to soothe or anything like that. Because I just didn't see the reason. Certain stuff I don't do that. Mom's generation did. Only because I feel like it wasn't helpful. I'm not saying it hindered the capacity, but I just feel like I'm just gonna see come out a little better if I don't do type shit. Like.
But listen, sometimes I be wanting to pop Corey my damn self.
All I do is look in your mouth, or like I'll act like I'm about to put her in her mouth.
She does though. But Corey's the type of child, I want to bring your baby into this, but Corey's the type of child where she's already like not even 2 years old yet, but she will test your boundaries, not her boundaries. Yours. She will test your boundaries. I have never seen a child that young who you can look at her and tell her not to do it, and she'll look at you and she'll go.
Oh yeah, she's testing the gangster.
Just to see what you're gonna do. I'm like, girl, you triggering me, honey. How you have to, not even a 2-year-old trigger you. So you listen, you got some stuff in store for you because the stuff that your child is doing, my child just started doing at 10. But like, okay, so let's go back to the meditation. So some people meditate, right? And I just start getting into stones, into gems. And so I have a couple of like tiger eye, and I have what is it? Pink quartz, the quartz that I try. Like sometimes like I try put it into my pocket, my blazer at work, and when I have a client come in that like telling me what I'm gonna do, like you gonna do this, and I know you can do that. I start putting my hand in my pocket, and I rub my little stone, and I'm like, I'm like, okay, let me tell you what I can do is. And that has helped me a lot. I'm not even gonna lie because I'm not on medication for anxiety. But sometimes I feel like I need to. But then you don't want to become so dependent on man-made drugs, even though they help. They help you take care of yourself and live your best life. But I feel like I'm trying to figure out some alternative means of controlling the anxiety.
That's a good thing. I mean, I don't sit like this and meditate, but as far as like, especially if I can't sleep because I have a hard time sleeping at night, I'll put the soothing or the meditation music on, and I just take a big deep breath, exhale, and I just clear my head and I think of the good stuff, and I role play that in my head when I do my manifestation as well. Okay, so when you manifest, what do you try to tell me what you manifest? I can't bring it out, can't share it out yet. But I've gotten into that manifestation stuff. Neville Goddard, I listen to him. He's kind of an older guy that I mean, he's been around for a long time, early I think 1900s, 2030s, something like that. But his teachings are old. But if you really, really listen to it, you can grab it. So I'm enjoying that right now.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So what have you been? What type of luck have you having with the? Because I know I said something to you about the crystals. I feel like I want to do that, but I don't know where to start. So when I bought the crystals, I ain't gonna lie, I bought them off of Amazon. Okay. I bought them off of Amazon, and I started reading about how you're supposed to charge crystals, how you're supposed to sage them. Mm-hmm. How you sage them? You sage them to cleanse them because you don't know who touched those crystals. Right. And I gotta be honest, I don't really know if it's working because I don't know.
But you have to believe that it's working.
Yeah. I want to believe.
And see, that's part of manifesting as well.
So I'm trying to, believe and do all those great things. And I think it's the consistency.
Right.
I think a lot of the times when we want to believe things, we want to believe in a higher power, we want to believe that there's somebody greater out there than ourselves, the Almighty God, Jehovah, whomever you believe in. I think that is a way that most people are comfortable in centering themselves when they believe in a higher power. They believe that there's somebody greater than themselves.
Right. But you can't just do it when something goes bad.
You got to practice it every day.
Every day, yeah.
So that's why I put that rose quartz in my pocket now.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
I do. I put that rose quartz on. I feel like, I don't know if it's the rose quartz or it's just me understanding now what triggers me.
I think it's probably both. I mean, once you have an understanding, you know the stuff to avoid, and I'm telling you, the best practice for me, for triggers, is just remove yourself from situation.
Yeah, but I gotta make this money, so I can't.
I mean, granted, you can't do everything, but yeah.
So Casey, well, T, have you ever been in a situation like who do you think triggers you most now and causes anxiety?
Are we being brutally honest?
I mean, you don't have. Well.
Oh my God. My biggest trigger right now is my mom. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Okay, this is a safe space, even though this is on the World Wide Web.
I don't care. It's my mom. We don't have your typical mother-daughter relationship. But she is a big trigger for me. If I'm trying to have a conversation with her and she raises her voice, that instantly triggers me.
Okay.
Sometimes I look at instant trigger. I mean, I love her, don't get me wrong, I love her to death. I don't like her all the time. Can't go lie. But that is a big trigger. So you know what I just started doing? I just remove myself from the situation, or I don't entertain it. I don't have to talk to her. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't have to. I try, because it's like when she triggers me, there's no stopping it, no controlling it. It's like I black out, and it's a lot.
So I've been in situations before, so I agree with you.
Yeah.
And let's go to that, like when you black out and you can't stop. Like sometimes I've been triggered so bad, like in the left side of my mind, I'm like, listen, I know that I'm about to set some fire to the flame. But it's like once you get to that level, it's like you can't stop. It's like a rage inside of you. Right, there's no talking you down.
No.
Like it's like I know in the end it's gonna be all bad, but in this moment, it feels good to just release and to let go. I'm trying to think of a specific time when I've been in a rage when I was just like, it don't even matter. Like we can.
I don't give a fuck attitude. It's a wrap. I don't like getting, because when I get to that point, I really don't care. Like I try, but.
You try not to get there.
I try not. That's why I say the best thing I do now is kind of walk off or remove myself from the situation when I can.
Right.
But if I can't, I just shut the fuck down. I won't say nothing no more.
So that's part of like emotional wellness and coping skills. I think that a lot of the times when people have anxiety, it's because they're unable to communicate how they're feeling in that moment, or they feel like their voice won't be heard, or they feel like they won't be understood. Right. And so I think that's what causes a lot of the anxiety.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so when we talk about dealing and coping and self-care as far as anxiety is concerned, again, we talked about meditation. Some people use healing stones. Some people reach out to other people. Casey, do you use any type of like meditation or stones, or some people ground themselves. I tried this on a full moon one night, because I'm trying to do everything that I can just to find some type of peace and balance, because sometimes as I'm moving towards my 40s, I know that I'm a different person than I was in my 30s. I know that the things that I dealt with or I accepted in my 30s, it's like if you're not growing, you're not changing, you're not evolving. And so I have to figure out the things that as I'm changing who I am as a human being, the things that work for me in my life. And so I went out, I started reading about grounding and meditation and things like that. So I went and stood outside, planted my feet in the ground, and I'm like, doing my positive affirmations.
No,
under the full moon. I sound crazy.
You start howling?
I girl, stop. Stop. But no, because you're just trying to figure out yourself. You're trying to figure out what works for you in your life. And so I guess my question Casey, have you, I know Casey, you're laughing at me like, this girl is crazy. But these are methods when I can't sleep at night. I be looking on YouTube. I'm like, okay, well, how do other people center themselves? How do other people ground themselves? And it's literally a method. Now, I don't know if it worked or not, but I feel like I felt better.
I think it starts with too, like our environment. A lot of times you become your environment in the environment you live in, whether it's toxic, it's negative, it's just, I mean, you conform to your environment,
right?
You know what I mean. So I think that's the biggest first thing we as people need to do is change our environment, because you can't live in a house full of hollering, screaming people and expect silence, expect peace, expect quietness. So it starts with your environment.
So have y'all ever noticed that, like, have you ever self-soothed on like things that were toxic to you? Like some people that have anxiety or some people that self-soothe, they're dependent upon marijuana or they're dependent upon alcohol, or they have, in order to self-soothe, they, hop from woman to woman, they have a sexual addiction. Have you guys ever seen or noticed someone that you see their tendencies and you're like, okay, this is your coping mechanism. This is how you self-soothe. Have you guys ever noticed that in your family or your friends? Like a codependency on something that you see that they don't see?
I'm trying to think that. Because if I saw it, you gotta tell me whether they'd accept it.
What'd you say?
You gotta tell me whether they'd accept it.
Okay, so you say you have to tell them in a way that they would accept it.
Right. If I know anybody that has like how you said the sex addiction or the codependency, right? I have to tell them this is gonna make me uncomfortable.
Have you ever had to tell somebody, sis, you need to slow down because you out here hoeing in these streets? I think you got a problem.
Your body, your body. I ain't got nothing to do with me. So I don't be like, yeah, this no, I don't do that. I don't do that because I don't do that. So
you don't pussy watch?
I don't do that.
So you don't think you owe it to your friend to be like, sis, your body count is creeping up there?
I couldn't even tell you what my body count is. So I'm not.
Well, maybe you don't just.
Body count. And I divide it.
Wait, I'm sorry. You do what? Say that again.
I pick a really high number and then I divide it, and whatever number that is, what I tell them they really ask. Because how am I supposed to know that? Why are you keeping count?
You might just lie the whole number.
I don't care what the number is. I'm like, did I enjoy it? Okay, yeah. If I enjoyed it, I'll how about that?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so Sam Kelly said, I noticed that in myself, and she said she uses cigarettes to self-soothe. So I know, you know what? A lot of people do use cigarettes to self-soothe.
I ain't gonna lie.
Listen.
And that's one thing I need to do. I'm like, it's hard. I swear it's hard. It is so hard. But I mean, I'm not, alcohol's not my go-to. I don't, smoke. Hell, I can go places and not even drink, or I'm not a smoker. I might eat an edible if there's something available. But I ain't gonna lie to you. When it get real stressful, that damn menthol helps out a whole lot.
I hear you.
I hate it though. I hate smoking. But
you know what? I know that people have started to notice recently within the past couple of months how I self-soothe is, or how I cope with my anxiety or the things that I'm dealing with. I will go 100% completely ghost on people to the point where people are literally like coming over to knock on my door like, girl, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. But sometimes you just gotta decompress. You have to sit in your own shit. I think more oftentimes than not, people aren't okay or comfortable with sitting in their own shit, being to themselves. And I know in the past I wasn't. I was always on the go. I know, I grew up here in Columbia. When I moved back and when I got divorced, after I got divorced, I was always out. You saw me at every social event, anything that was anything that had anything to do with the nightlife. I called myself the Columbia socialite. where you knew if there was an event that was happening, if there was a grand opening that was happening, I was going to be there, and I wasn't afraid to go and hang out by myself, to do things by myself in that respect. But I think it was because I just wasn't ready to sit and deal with my own shit.
Yeah, that's good. I love my me time though. I love it. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I was the type growing up when I was younger, I had to have a bunch of people around me.
Right.
Now I love my time to myself.
Right.
You know.
So let's pivot, because we've been talking about a lot about anxiety in women and how we deal with our anxiety and how we self-soothe and how we cope. But we never really talk about men, and we never address men and their mental issues and how they have anxiety and how they self-soothe and how they cope. I know plenty of men just by researching now and figuring out, like, you know, their patterns and things that they do that may have anxiety or may have codependency on things because they haven't been able to deal with issues in their past. And just being a man, like, how hard is it? How hard is it, do you think, for men to be able to open up and admit that they have anxiety or admit that they have triggers and they may not know how to self-soothe? Casey, what do you feel about that? How do you feel about that comment? Like, do you know men that, like, you just know they have issues and things that they need to deal with, and just by being a man, it's just hard for them to put themselves out there and be vulnerable? Okay.
Well, I do.
Like, who do you know?
I'm a guy. I have a guy friend that's my best friend.
Okay.
And the things, he doesn't talk about anything or deal with anything unless he's been drinking. And that's when his emotions come out. That's when he talks. And, you know, I always tell people, a drunk man's words is a sober man's truth, but you'll never
say that one more time.
A drunk man's words is a sober man's truth.
Yes.
That's how you truly feel, but you won't be able to fully receive anything back in return unless you fucking remember it. And 9 times out of 10, when you're that drunk, you're not going to remember it. And it's you need, and it's okay. I think guys, especially guys, you know, if you have as a police officer, the army, or even corporate positions or whatever, it's a stigma put on them if you know, that because they don't talk, or if they want to talk. A lot of guys, in being in the army, I know a lot of guys wanted to go to somebody, a therapist or counselor or whatever, and talk about things, but they didn't want to have that stigma on them. They didn't want that in their records. They didn't want to be frowned upon or lose their job in leadership or something like that because of that. And I think that's messed up. We as a society can't want people to, you know, better themselves, and then when they do reach out for that help, they're looked down upon, you know.
I agree. So we do have some men in the chat. I don't know how you guys, if you're still on, we still have a couple of viewers. Go ahead and post your comments about, you know, do you know men, or how hard is it for men to be able to open up and say that, yes, I do have issues, I do have problems, I do have these triggers. I know that women, you know, we think about the roles in society and how we put so much on men. They have to carry the weight of the world. They have to carry the weight of their families. And sometimes we don't allow them or give them that safe space to be able to open up and be able to admit that they have anxiety or they have triggers. And it's just giving them a safe space to be able to cope and self-soothe. So I know this is a little bit, you know, this is a little intimate, but we do have some men in the chat. So I was just curious to know, either one of you that's in the chat right now, now, how do you feel about being able to open up? Do you feel like it's frowned upon, you know, in this day and age, or do you feel comfortable and safe in a safe place that you're able to open up and say, hey, I need to take a moment. I'm being stressed out. I have anxiety. And then how do you cope with it? So if you're comfortable enough to put that in the chat, I'd love to hear, you know, your comments and how you feel about that. I think that, you know, as I grow older in life, I have to come to a place of understanding exactly how I'm feeling, the triggers that I have. You know, my counterpart or my friend or my male friends, they have those same issues, and they have those same triggers. You know, we look at the suicide rates in African American men and men in general. There are a lot of men that have taken their own lives. Celebrities, a lot of celebrities that have taken their own lives because of the stress and the anxiety of life and not being able to self-soothe or cope.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that as women and in society that we provide a safe space just so that everyone is comfortable, not just women.
Right.
Because mental health is real,
yeah,
right?
It is. It is, and I promise you, just speaking from my own personal experience, once you get the help you need and figure out what works best for you, I promise you, life is so much more enjoyable. It's so much more, it's just easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Not saying you're not gonna have your problems, but you don't have, when you look in the mirror, you love yourself.
Right. So I know I have some men in here, but anybody in the chat, like, how do you feel? Safe space. Yeah, it's a safe space. This is an interactive type of night. I've been dealing with, the reason why I chose this topic tonight is because I've been really conquering my anxiety. Mm-hmm. I've been really, just coming up with ways to self-soothe and to cope with what I have going on with my life. So that's why this topic was kind of near and dear to me tonight.
Yep. Nobody's going to say nothing?
That's all good. We can pivot.
Okay, let's pivot.
We can pivot. So we're talking about stress. We talked about stress. We talked about anxiety. We talked about making the safe space for women and men. So how do you feel about everything that's going on right now with, we talked about your anxiety and your stress as far as the Ukraine situation.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you about this girl right here, okay? When we talk about current events, sometimes we talk about everything. We talk about like things that trigger us and give us stress and give us anxiety. This girl has researched she was telling me some things that I was like, girl, are you like, this is consuming you.
Yeah, it's
consuming. It's like stressful for you. So you want to research and you want to figure out everything that's going on.
Let me tell you, before Biden went office, like CNN, like consumed my entire life, morning, noon, and night. Like,
so that when you consider you doing the research, like your coping mechanism of how you cope with stress and your anxiety about, what's going on in Ukraine.
Well, I just want to know, like, I want to, I have family and friends that are still in the military,
right.
And I have a friend that just, been in Europe now for 2 weeks. She got like 3 days notice and had to send her son to, her parents' house and then go. This is something that it could end up being another world war. I said it slow because I get a little tongue tied with that. But no, and then the gas prices, that shit's depressing.
Girl,
I'm mad about that gas. Girl, it's crazy. Look, let me tell you, I know somebody that works in the oil business, and even a store near where I live said they haven't gotten any new gas in almost a month. So that means they're charging us for the barrels that we were paying $2.21 for.
Right.
They doubled it.
Do you know how much it costs to put gas in Sex Alexi last week? $72.
Yeah, I'm at $75 now.
$72. But you know what bothers me? And you know what triggers me? And what bothers me and triggers me when I see people on Facebook, they say, I'm not worried about, like, does gas prices really affect how you move? I'm not worried about gas prices. I'm not worried. I'm like,
fronting.
I don't look at gas prices. What you mean you don't look at gas prices?
Somebody made a comment last week. They posted something saying, well, if y'all complain about these gas prices, it makes me wonder if the designer clothes you're wearing is real. I said, wait, motherfucking minute.
That triggers me.
Because anything designer I want, I buy it if I want it. You can't say, oh, I don't want no gas. You have to buy gas regardless of how much it is.
That's true. Did you guys see that meme where it said gas so high, the mailman? It said gas is so high, the mailman is at home reading the mail to me or something ridiculous.
Better get on a bicycle. It's cheaper to feed a horse some hay than put gas in a car.
So we're triggered by current events. What else are we triggered by?
I don't know. I think as we get older, we realize things maybe as a child, it's easier for us to push things back. I noticed for me, the older I got, the more stuff came to the forefront, to the surface. And there was no pushing it or suppressing it any way, shape, or form. So I think you get older, you just have to learn to deal with the shit, man. I mean, that's been the best thing I've done because I used to suppress a lot of stuff. I used to ignore a lot of stuff. And when it comes, man, it comes full force. And there's nothing you can do about it but deal with it. So I just try to deal with it as it comes along. I haven't mastered it yet, but I mean, I think I've done pretty good. I'm doing pretty good.
You're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I am.
Y'all, we lost Casey. I don't know what happened to her tonight. I don't know what happened to Kirsten tonight.
Kirsten.
But so triggers, anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and self-esteem, self-coping, self-soothing.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, like, I know that we all go through these types of things in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all go through triggers. We all go through anxiety. And I think about our parents. I think about how things have changed in life where they weren't able to talk about the things that they have gone through.
Yeah.
And so they have kind of like through the generations, they have passed that anxiety down to us. It's like
That's a
they
generational
weren't
curse within
right.
itself.
Come on, let's talk about this generational curse
Yeah,
real quick.
That is a curse within itself.
What type of generational curses do you feel like you have on your life?
Oh my gosh. Oh man. I don't even know where to start. Let me see. Let me think. I think that negative mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a lot of people my family, had that. I swear I question whether or not I'm in the right family because I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I feel like I've been adopted or something, but clearly I look, I look like both of my parents, but
right.
Just my mindset versus theirs. Like, the first word, I hate that phrase. I can't. I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that mentality because you're already started. Your first thought is negative instantly. My mindset is I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna figure out a way and it's gonna get done.
So you feel like your parents had that
Yeah.
negative mindset, the generational curses that things were negative. That's part of having anxiety. Having anxiety also, always feeling like you're doomed. Always feeling like.
See, I grew up in a household. My parents were young when they got married. I think my mom, she got pregnant and married at 16.
Mm-hmm.
Back then in the 70s, that was kind of common. My dad was a couple years older. So there was in that household, a lot of hollering and screaming and, a lot of physical abuse going on, like domestic violence and stuff like that. So that's why I said I think that's where the loud noises come from, that hollering and screaming. And instantly, if I feel like you're hollering at me, I instantly go in defense mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I catch myself too. I don't necessarily think I holler. To me, I don't holler, but I know I can. When I get excited, I start talking loud.
Yeah.
And I have to remember. To me, I'm not hollering, but to somebody else, just hearing that, it might be hollering to them.
Right.
So that's something that comes over time. That's all you've known and all you've heard all your life. So it takes some time to make those adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there's no number or age limit on things we want to achieve or even change about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I have the mentality that I just want to live the best version of myself.
Right.
And I didn't really start feeling like that, honestly, until I got on this medicine that balanced me out. And before that, just not even knowing that the radiation I went through or the chemo that I went through played a major part in just everything being unbalanced, the chemical imbalance in my head. So I mean, I was like, shit, whatever it takes, because when you feel like a prisoner on your own body, that's the worst feeling in the world. That's a terrible feeling.
So I like the fact that you said that, like, as far as living your best life and just working through those things right now. I recently, yesterday, one of my cousins, 25 years old, passed away. And when I think about like anxiety, even though he was my cousin, I really didn't know him like I should have known him. And the fact that you think about, your family, and we talked about those generational curses, and we talked about like just figuring out, your triggers and your traits. Like, death triggers me.
Oh yeah.
Death triggers me. Just trying to figure out, like, you're talking about, you're going to 4. Like, how old are you?
43.
43. And I'm 39. So I say that I'm 40. So I'm like I'm almost 40. And it's like, I have anxiety because I really feel like I'm not where I want to be in my life. Even though, I'm not hurting. I'm able to take care of myself and my family. But like, just not being where I want to be in my life triggers me. So when my little cousin, my baby cousin, passed away, and just reading his obituary and listening to all the things that the family said about him and his friends. And he was sick for a very long time. But the one thing that stood out about his life and his legacy is he never complained about life or anything. He didn't. If he had anxiety or if he had stress, nobody knew about it because he was always so concerned and worried about other people and everything else going on in everybody else's life. So I'm sitting at his funeral, just trying to be grateful for all that I have and what I have, and making sure that my negative thoughts and my life and the things that I have going on in my life is at peace.
Yeah.
Is at peace because we only get one of them. And if you live your whole life just being stressed out about things that mean nothing.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you cannot take that man with you in that grave with you. You can't take these bills with you. You can't take these cars with you. So we're letting this anxiety and these triggers stress us out for what?
Right.
For what?
Right. And just being your friend
Girl, what happened to the internets? I paid the bill.
Internet. She got the
I paid
McDonald's
the
internet.
Ooh, how you gonna call it? McDonald's internet. But y'all, we humbly apologize for the interruption that we had, because I felt like we was in a groove, we was in our little flow, we was doing our thing in here tonight.
Most definitely.
So I apologize that these good people's internets, AT&T,
Right.
dropped on me tonight. But we're gonna get that thing figured out, and we do appreciate you guys. Now let's regroup and get back to what we were talking about.
All right, let's go.
Now, what was it?
Just about see. I've been talking about anxiety for a long time.
No, because it's like something that I'm working on in my life.
Well, listen, I agree, but let's incorporate some self-care into that whole anxiety thing. Like,
So I already said I meditate. Started grounding myself.
Standing outside in the moonlight.
Standing outside in the moonlight.
Ah.
Standing outside in the moonlight. And one big thing I've been trying to do is just remove myself. Like you talked about, just removing myself.
All the company you keep.
Listen,
And the person on the street,
how you
allow
to treat you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of anxiety because we can't control others. I have a control issue, y'all. You have a control issue?
Oh, I know what I was saying. Let me just wrap on this. You were talking about, how you feel like you always can do more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So based off our conversation, being your friend, you never enjoyed the moment. You got today and think about how now how much take money. In that moment, the moment.
Right. Enjoy my moment.
Enjoy your
I
moment.
can agree with that. I think that, like, if I get promotions, bonus, I'm like, okay, I got that bonus. What's next?
Right.
My guy friend, I call a little guy friend, we have our good, good times in a relationship, has their ups and downs. We want our good times. I was like, oh Lord, what's
Right.
and one thing that I've been talking about, like because I started a journal, my little self-care journal, is focusing on the good, because if you focus on the good, then those things will continue to manifest in your life, right? If you
you think it and you envision it, like you play in your head how you want everything to work out, how to play itself out.
Right.
I can't tell you everything that I've been manifesting, but it's been.
Girl, but you need to speak. I need to hear some of these
I
things.
done told you, but you ain't listened to the man I told you about.
Okay. Okay.
No, I think just like we're not here for a long time, man. We don't know, when, and I think for me, like,
what is that? I'm not here for a long time. I'm just here for a good time.
Right. But peace is so priceless, man. I'm telling you, like, sometimes I just get my kind of ride, listen to my 80s music, my 90s R&B, and I enjoy that moment,
right?
Because those songs, or each song has a play. If I listen to a song, it takes me back to a good time in my life.
Right.
Shit was bad, but it wasn't all bad.
Yes.
So it takes those songs. That music is my soup.
Mm-hmm.
So those songs, everything. When my grandparents were alive, when I was a kid, they were in the world, but going to play outside, and stuff like that. So I hold on to those, and I can literally each song that comes on, I can probably tell you exactly where I was. When that song played. It's crazy.
Isn't that crazy how songs can trigger you?
Yeah, the memories and
how scents can trigger you.
The scent of smell is the biggest trigger for our memory.
Yes.
It's the first. Yeah.
Yes.
Certain smell that smell takes me different places.
Does it like stop you in your tracks?
Yeah, stops me in my tracks.
Yes.
You're like, ooh.
Yes. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
I definitely do need to do a better job of enjoying the moment for what it is.
Yeah.
But just the way I was raised, it just doesn't allow me to sit and be in that moment, enjoy the moment. It's like something could happen. And then if it happens, what if I'm not prepared for it? And that's where...
I don't think we'll ever be fully prepared. As long as you have a direction to go in,
right.
I think that is preparation enough.
Right.
You'll never be fully prepared for anything.
Well, that's why I started journaling. So I can write down the good times and the good moments, so when I have those negative thoughts, and then I go back and say, well, those times weren't always bad, or these times were always bad. These were the moments that mattered the most. And I talked a little bit about my cousin passing away, and at that moment I was sitting in that pew. I was like, he was on this earth for 25 years. He has so much to give, so much love to give. He impacted so many lives, and he was sick a lot of the time in his life. And it's like, I think about the legacy that I want to live and how grateful I want to be in the things that I want people to remember me by.
Right.
And that gives me anxiety. It's like, what if I was put on this earth and I never figured out my purpose, or I never figured out what my life was supposed to mean, or what it was supposed to be. And so that's why I like, even though I always say I'm not perfect, but I'm worth it.
Right.
I'm not perfect, but I'm worth it. But I always try to give back, and I always try to help others, and I always try to give back, and I always try to make sure that the life that I'm living and the life that I have is what I'm trying to manifest. Mm-hmm. And so we are at the 9 o'clock hour, and I was just got word that my internet is still looking a little choppy and a little staticky. So I want to go ahead and end because I don't want to continue to have these technical difficulties. But I do enjoy this time that we spend in this safe space that we have. So I do want to wrap up quickly. So what is your takeaway from tonight, Steve? My
takeaway from tonight, next time we'll be using Starbucks internet.
Oh, she said Starbucks internet.
My thing is, man, every day you wake up, just be thankful for that day, and that's part of living in that moment and make the best of it.
Yeah.
Every day you won't feel as productive, or it won't be perfect. But you have 24 hours to make a change. You have 24 hours to make something happen. And you have 24 fucking hours just to say, thank you, God.
Thank you.
Every morning I say, thank you for opening my eyes. So, but other than that, man, life is what we make it. And it's not all bad. It's not all good. But it can all be enjoyable.
You know what? That's the best wrap up that we can have. And like I said before we leave, follow us on Twitter, The Guys Podcast 2. Follow us on Instagram, The Guys Pod. Catch us on Blackjack TV, Zingo TV, Channel 198, Primetime Sports, Wagering Network. And thank you.
Thank you.
I love you.
Peace.